Captain Forrest here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over both these combatants to see who would win, more often not in a cross-verse situation, Martian Manhunter versus Jean Grey. Now if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. Also shoutouts to the Cough Shop gang, they make awesome content. Their links will be in the description. Also shouts to HQ Squad, massive shoutouts to the team, they also help me in my videos, so huge shout out to the team. Now before I dive into this awesome matchup, I just want to mention some things. So in the first round, Martian Manhunter is going up against Jean Grey, like strictly and specifically Jean Grey with no Phoenix Force. And in the second round, I will talk about how it would go down when she has the Phoenix Force, just to make this encounter a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with Martian Manhunter and talk a bit about him and go into all his impressive abilities and AP and all that great stuff. So yeah, let's go. There are feats and statements for Martian Manhunter and Superman himself. Superman admits that Martian Manhunter is relative, if not above him, while he's suppressed. Martian Manhunter has demonstrated to scrap and press a suppressed Superman in combat, even going toe to toe with Superman in a heat vision battle. Martian Manhunter has also taken on the Justice League. Martian Manhunter has launched Superboy Prime with a punch, whereas Black Adam barely did anything to Superboy Prime, even with the advantage of his laced magical lightning. Martian Manhunter has also demonstrated to press and physically hurt Black Adam and fry his face with heat vision in combat. That's going to round up his AP. Now as for speed, I've mentioned this many times in my videos. Martian Manhunter should scale to the Justice League pretty easily. He should scale to Superman and other characters. Martian Manhunter should easily have immeasurable to irrelevant speed scaling pretty easily. He scales to like Superman. Superman has his own irrelevant speed feats, and some of the other Justice League members do themselves. And we literally see like Martian Manhunter clapping them. He's able to react to the team. So it's pretty impressive. So I'm going to go ahead, move on to his other abilities and talk about those. So let's go. Can mind control you, affect your motor functions in your brain, preventing you from moving. He's demonstrated to mind wipe all of the Justice League, and this is very impressive considering that the Justice League have great mental defenses and resistances. He's beaten and amped Gorilla Grodd with his mind hacks also, which is very impressive. Gorilla Grodd is also an impressive telepath. And lastly, one thing I'd like to mention as well for Martian Manhunter's telepathic powers. Now Shane, his son from another dimension, Shane has the power of the 6th dimension in terms of his telepathic powers, and this same Shane states that Martian Manhunter is stronger than him telepathically, and this is proven and shown when Martian Manhunter mind hacks and literally blitzed Perpetua with his mind hacks and completely embarrassed her in a mental battle, completely restraining her and defeating her and pretty much overpowering and pressing her in combat, which is absolutely impressive. Very impressive scaling for Martian Manhunter's telepathic powers. So that's going to round up his telepathic fortitudes and all that great jazz and all this potency. Let's move on to some of the other things that Martian Manhunter has up his sleeve. Martian Manhunter is able to shapeshift his body into people, animals, and can even take the appearance of a dragon. Martian Manhunter can also phase through objects and people, and also neg other people's intangibility. He's able to perform heat vision just like Superman. Martian Manhunter has control over his whole body and organs on a molecular level. He can create tendrils or constructs out of his own body for offense. He can also wrap his tendrils around his foes to immobilize them. Martian Manhunter has really good regenerative abilities. He's able to come back from his body being nothing but goop on the floor. It would require his foe to destroy every atom in his body. Okay, that's going to round up Martian Manhunter. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Jean Grey and see what she brings to the table. Is greatly known for her mutant power, which is telekinesis. In fact, she did not originally have telepathic powers. It was Charles Xavier that gifted her some of his telepathic powers to her during the classic days in Uncanny X-Men. With those powers, she goes on to perform many feats with her mutant gifts. In fact, it's noted that Jean Grey, alongside with Emma Frost, are noted to be premier telepaths, which is very impressive. So Jean actually goes on to demonstrate a lot of impressive feats. For example, Jean was able to telepathically bully and embarrass Nightmare and send him on his way. Jean enters Null's symbiote hive mind and communicates with Dylan, undetected. Later on, Jean attacks Null, a universal level threat and master of the God Hive mind, telepathically causing him to scream and grab his head in pain, and then proceeds to ransack his mind and finds weaknesses, with Null being unable to stop her, which is absolutely insane. Jean channels the pain of the people all over the world caused by Life Seed Nate and floods his mind with it, overwhelming him and causing him agony, making him beg for her to stop. This is impressive, considering besides Jean Grey, Nate is the strongest telepath in existence. Jean was able to mentally hammer through Exodus's defenses, a powerful telepath who can swap with Charles. Jean was able to get through Storm's mind. This is impressive because even the likes of Charles Xavier finds it very painful and receives a nasty feedback every time he tries to communicate with Storm on a telepathic level. Jean teaches Quentin Quire and Phoebe Cuckoo how to navigate the dreamscape, an astral plane that connects to everyone in the world's dreams when they are unconscious, and fight on it. Jean has used illusions and her astral form to fight Rutal, while at the same time absorbing the brunt of Wolverine and Thunderbird's mental and physical exhaustion. Jean finds the right psychic key to be able to telepathically assault the aliens. Essentially, she can find chinks in their mental defenses. Jean, while multitasking, shields the minds of approximately 8.5 billion people from a massive psychic attack that would have killed everyone in New York City had it not been for Jean's intervention. Jean can feel the emotions of everyone on Earth. Even Jean's own telekinesis is capable of restraining the Phoenix Force from going mad. Jean has shown to use her telekinesis in many ways, such as stopping Richter's heart for a moment, causing him to have a seizure. She was able to stop the blood flow to Deadpool's brain to knock him out with telekinesis. If pushed enough, Jean will resort to other diminishing methods, such as embarrassing her opponents by forcing them to literally throw up or poop their pants. She has used her telekinesis to disrupt the energy field of the cage with her TK that was holding the O4 prisoner. The field was made to be in the tune with the O4's cellular structure and feedback their powers on them, so Jean had to be very careful when she destroyed it, otherwise she could have disrupted her team's cellular structure accidentally with her TK. Jean can gather psychic energy from the two races of a planet. 2 cities are shown to have had energy gathered from, so we are limiting the feat to saying she gathered from 2 cities. This Jean has lost most of her telepathic powers during this time, and in fact, she didn't even have the Phoenix Force, which makes the feat pretty decent and pretty impressive in its own right. Jean Grey and Charles Xavier absorbs the rampant psychic energies from the dying Ant Shadow King. Even as a teenager, Jean's PSI drains the Supreme Intelligence's psionic energy, a being composed of 10 billion minds, and uses the energy to take out the Kree accusers. Teenage Jean absorbs the telepathic energy from inhabitants of the planet, Terrax, the Tamer, Galactus, and from the Phoenix Force itself to punch Galactus and knock him down. Jean's mental resistances was capable of holding off the Phoenix Force from controlling her. Even without the assistance of the Phoenix, Jean is able to recreate an entirely new body just by absorbing foes' psionic energy. Jean was able to use her telekinesis to undo a nanomachine's transmutation back into human form. Her telekinesis can also amp her physical attacks to damage a sea monster. This very same sea monster was literally beating the absolute fish rocks out of an amped Namor who was underwater. And lastly, Jean was able to swap with Nate Grey, merged Legion for a while, who tanked a serious lightning strike from Storm. Okay, so that's going to round up both these combatants. I'm going to go ahead and break this fight down. Now, when it comes down to the Hack's potency, in terms of like telepathic powers and telepathic prowess, I would have to lean more so with Martian Manhunter if it's just against strictly like Jean Grey with no Phoenix Force. he has better scaling, vastly above Jean Grey's pay grade, unfortunately, especially the feat he performed against Perpetua. That's easily like some good layers into Boundless. And at best, I would say, you know, Jean Grey on her own, she's probably like outer versal, high outer, and I just don't think that she has the necessary layers or the necessary transcendences to get to Martian Manhunter's level if it's just standard Jean Grey. I don't think the feats are powerful enough or get her to that level. So I think if it came down to it, I would have to give victory to Martian Manhunter in terms of that regard. Speed isn't really a problem. I would say Martian Manhunter may be faster, in fact. He should have the speed edge. He definitely has like immeasurable to irrelevant speed, so there would be probably a speed issue. He'd probably blitz and mind hacks Jean Grey, and then she's going to have a lot of problems dealing with the blitz, and of course she's just going to get mind hacks before she even knows what's going on. So Martian Manhunter has the complete advantage over Jean Grey via the stats, so it'd be very difficult for Jean Grey to deal with such an onslaught. So in that regard, I think Martian Manhunter would defeat Jean Grey with no Phoenix Force in the first round. However, when it comes down to the second round, I would have to give victory to Jean Grey. The Phoenix Force is ridiculous. Easily has like Boundless, if not 1S scaling, extra versal scaling. It's ridiculous. It also depends on which version of the Phoenix Force you use. However, I think it doesn't really matter per se. Like the Dark Phoenix Force already has like infinite layers into Boundless, and you can even argue potentially maybe higher. And the White Phoenix, of course, you know, the Big Daddy, the Big Bird, easily has like more layers into Boundless. If not, it's 1S, like extra versal, which is the step up. It's infinite axioms above, you know, Boundless. It's a huge leap. So she would scale cosmologically above Martian Manhunter very badly, which is unfortunate. So I think if we have Jean Grey with the Phoenix Force, I think she one-shots. I think the AP, I think the potency is just way too much. But those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course give me your thoughts down in the comment section. But yes, it's been real. See you guys in the next one. Peace.